Log on to win to the outside. And they're off. Even start. Crypto Craze in the center has good speed, joined by Unusual Win. But it is Crypto Craze quicker and opens up nearly a length. Unusual Win second by 2, then Log On to Win and Streetlight People. Another 3 to Unkept Secret, kept well off the rail. 2 clear of King Zog, and Bluegrass Rider is a little green at the back of the field. It's Crypto Craze to the half-mile pole, cruising, 2-length advantage. Unusual Win second. Street Light People at the rail, trying to get closer, third. Then Log On to Win, 4 off the pace in fourth. Unkept Secret. King Zog is next, and a long way to Bluegrass Rider. Less than 3/8 to travel, and Crypto Craze widens out to be in front by 4 lengths on Unusual Win in second. Then Unkept Secret trying to make some headway on the outside of Log On to Win. Streetlight People is losing ground. They're at the top of the stretch. He's at the top of the stretch. Crypto Craze by a block at the 8th pole. Close to 10 lengths now. Unkept Secret battling with Log On to Win, but they are no match for Crypto Craze under Adrian Escobedo. Crypto Craze by 7. Tight photo for second. It's actually very tight between Log On to Win and Unkept Secret. It could go either way. Then King Zog and Bluegrass Rider. Up next, race 2 in 25 minutes, start of the early pick 4. Unseal and Carry. We're in the gate. And they're off. Our Girls Worth It flies out of the gate, opens up 2. Yo-Yo Mama in the lime colors moves up second. Then Stay in Line and Conceal and Carry. 5/8 to travel. Yo-Yo Mama takes over, opens up nearly a length on Our Girls Worth It. Now it's a length and a half. Stay in Line on the inside of Conceal and Carry. Pratt takes a hold of Yo-Yo Mama, who leads by a length past the half-mile pole. With Our Girls Worth It in second, Conceal and Carry, Stay in Line. The favorite is down at the rail, last and pushed along. Ask for a bit more now as Yo-Yo Mama tries to shake loose. Yo-Yo Mama, a length and a half. Our Girls Worth It re-engages second. Now Stay in Line is advancing along the rail, and Conceal and Carry drops out. They turn for home. Yo-Yo Mama off the fence, leads the way. At the rail, Stay in Line finds that narrow opening, takes advantage, pounces, takes over, and opens up. It's Stay in Line by 2, by 3, by 4. Stay in Line will prove far superior to the competition, strolling through the stretch to win it by almost 6 lengths. Yo-Yo Mama, Conceal and Carry, and Our Girls Worth It. Right up to the gate. And they're off. Lake Superior sprints out of the gate, leading along the rail, has good speed too. These two set an honest tempo with British Isles third. Shot of Courage on the outside takes the 3rd spot. Bandwagon settles at the back of the field behind Message of Hope. It's leading in Lake Superior, and they're really going at it. 4 lengths in front of Shot of Courage in 3rd. Message of Hope is 7 lengths off the lead. Then British Isles and Bandwagon, quick opening quarter mile. And leading Has It by a head. Lake Superior by 5. Then it's Shot of Courage by himself in 3rd. Message of Hope is a couple behind him. Bandwagon inches up on the outside of British Isles. Down the backstretch, no breathers for Lake Superior in leading. They continue to do battle. 4 lengths back to the next flight. At the rail, Shot of Courage is encouraged. Message of Hope on the outside. Another 2 lengths back as they take much closer order. Bandwagon is fifth, now just 3 lengths off the lead, and 2 to British Isles. It's leading in Lake Superior. 3/4 to Message of Hope coming after them now in third. At the rail, Shot of Courage is fourth. Bandwagon is moving up on the outside. Leading is the first to surrender around the turn. He's dropping back to last. 1/4 mile to go. Message of Hope takes the lead. Bandwagon moves into second. Lake Superior also softened up. They're at the top of the lane, and Message of Hope trying to hold off Bandwagon, who's coming smartly on the outside. And Bandwagon handridden right to him at the 16th pole. At the rail, Message of Hope is fighting hard. It is Bandwagon, Message of Hope. And on the inside, British Isles flies late, a little too late, as Bandwagon wins. British Isles finished very well. And then it was Message of Hope third, Shot of Courage fourth. It will be the last one to load. We're in the gate. And they're off. Vegas Burner bobbled at the start and is last. Don Corleone is very quick, so is Prosper. Prosper takes the lead. 2 more, Appreciate Today comes away in third. Then Sneaking Candy fourth. Hey Brother inches up inside of him, and a gap of 4 to the favorite Vegas Burner, who's left with a very tall order. Half-mile left to travel, and it's Don Corleone at the rail, Prosper up alongside. 2 more lengths, Appreciate Today third, followed by Hey Brother, Sneaking Candy, and still 4 to Vegas Burner. Less than 3 furlongs out, Prosper the leader, Appreciate Today moving up on the outside to take second, Don Corleone in third. Then Hey Brothers, Sneaking Candy, and Vegas Burner starting to roll from behind, has 6 to make up at the top of the stretch, where it's Prosper and Appreciate Today, 2 first-time starters, 2 lengths back. Hey Brother is finishing with interest, and then Vegas Burner, they're in the final furlong, and Hey Brother colors the top pair, has to hold off Vegas Burner, who is coming fast. Hey Brother, Vegas Burner. Hey Brother, Vegas Burner. Hey Brother, just got there. Vegas Burner, a very unlucky defeat. Then Appreciate Today and Prosper. They're in the gate. And they're off. Metico is very quick away from the gate. So is Hander's Dream in the red colors up to take the lead. Sol del Sur and Paco's Pico in the firing line. Whoa, Buddy Fitch is 3 off the lead. 2 more to Afternoon Heat, who is followed by High Press, 8 lengths off the pacemakers. At the back of the field are Summer Shandy, and Any Other Questions trails. Hander's Dream takes him toward the 3/8 pole, pressed by Matico, with Sol del Sur a half length back at the rail in third. Then Paco's Pico fourth with 3 to make up. Whoa Buddy has lost some ground, racing 3 in front of High Press and Afternoon Heat. Then a gap to Summer Shandy, and Any Other Questions at the back. Hander's Dream trying to drift out at the quarter pole, leads the way by a length. Sol del Sur hanging tough at the rail. 2 more, Matico in third. And then Paco's Pico, there's an 1/8 of a mile to go, and Sol del Sur emerges with a narrow advantage. Hander's Dream fights on gamely. Matico followed by Paco's Pico. Whoa Buddy, a 16th out, and it will be Sol del Sur. Sol del Sur wins it by 2.5. Hander's Dream second, Matico third in front of Paco's Pico and Afternoon Heat. In the gate. And they're off in the Astra. And Leisure Wear just sprints away immediately. Rose Barton has some good speed too and cuts right into the margin. And Linda's Gift in the green settles in a good spot third. Lakota Spirit is fourth, already 8 lengths off the pace. On the outside comes Musical Rhapsody, 2 more to Duvet Day, and Yarborough is at the back of the field. Linda's Gift wants to lead and takes it. Linda's Gift, headstrong, opens up 2. Leisure Wear is in second, followed by Rose Barton in the red third. A gap of 4 back to Musical Rhapsody, who races in fourth as they come into the stretch for the first time. Linda's Gift establishes the pace with a 2-length edge on Leisure Wear, who's under a tight hold in second. Rose Barton third, followed by Musical Rhapsody. Then it's Lakota Spirit, Duvet Day, and Yarborough. 10 lengths covers the field, a lap to go in the Astra, and it's Linda's Gift leading by 3. Leisure Wear, Rose Barton, Musical Rhapsody, Lakota Spirit, Duvet Day, and Yarborough. That's the running order as they round the clubhouse turn. And Linda's Gift is in front. Uncontested, 4-length edge. On Leisure Wear in second. Rose Barton on the outside covers up Musical Rhapsody. Another 5 lengths back, Lakota Spirit, Duvet Day biding her time, and Yarborough is at the back. They're heading to the half-mile pole behind Linda's Gift, sailing along untroubled with a 3-length cushion on Leisure Wear in second. Another length to Rose Barton and Musical Rhapsody. Duvet Day has gotten closer, within 6 lengths of the leader, Lakota Spirit and Yarborough. They move into the far turn. Linda's Gift got her breather, goes on a length and a half to Leisure Wear second. At the rail, Musical Rhapsody taking third away from Rose Barton. Now Kimura asking Duvet Day to go, has 5 to make up still at the quarter pole. Yarborough between horses, Lakota Spirit at the rail, top of the stretch, and Linda's Gift goes on, leads by 2. Musical Rhapsody in the center of the course. At the rail, it's Leisure Wear in third. They're coming to the 16th pole, and it's Linda's Gift by 3. Musical Rhapsody clearly into second and finishing well, but no one's catching Linda's Gift today. Linda's Gift dominates the Astra. Musical Rhapsody second. Duvet Day belatedly for third in front of Lakota Spirit and Leisure Wear. Seven starts. They're in the gate. And they're off, and Show Card pretty much dwelt. Miss Bo J, very fast. Simply Enchanting has speed, as does Vegas Condo. 1 from the rail, and down at the rail, it's Tahini. So it's these 4 battling it out in the early going, with Miss Bo J clearly the quickest. Then comes Mo Pearls Please. Bonaqua is third to last. Second to last is Tianma, and then it is another 15 or so back to Show Card, who's hopelessly left. Heading to the 3/8 pole. And it is Miss Bo J showing the way with Simply Enchanting in second. Vegas Condo moves up on the outside, claiming third. Followed by Tahini. Mo Pearls Please is in fifth. Bonaqua 6 lengths off the lead. 2 in front of Tianma and Show Card. They have a quarter of a mile to go, and Simply Enchanting is right up to Miss Bo J and takes a narrow lead. Miss Bo J digs in along the rail. 3 lengths back to Tahini, who's finishing with some interest. They are followed by Bonaqua in the center of the track, also gathering momentum. They're a 16th out. Simply Enchanting, Miss Bo J. Simply Enchanting is just in front, and on the outside, Bonaqua is flying. It's going to be Simply Enchanting. Bonaqua came with a flourish to get second in front of Miss Bo J. Mo Pearls Please in Vegas Condo. Grande. 30 carats. And they're off. Sakura Flavor is going out to battle for the lead. My favorite daughter with the white blinkers comes through along the inside. And Milagro do Sol is up close as well as they come into the stretch for the first time. And Cerro Grande is in fourth. They are followed by 30 Carats out in the center of the course. Etheric is second to last. And Kinjani is allowed to settle early on, well in hand, and 15 lengths off this front runner who has sprinted away. My favorite daughter and Mike Smith, 4-length lead. Sakura Flavor is second. Then it's Milagro do Sol on the inside of Vincero Grande. Etheric is next, followed by 30 Carats and the favorite Kinjani at the back. Around the clubhouse turn, Mike Smith and my favorite daughter loose on the front end. It's a half dozen now over Sakura Flavor, second by more than 4. Then Milagro do Sol and Vincero Grande still third and fourth, followed by 30 Carats. Etheric gets a little bit of a nudge, and another 2 back to Kinjani in the red. They're heading toward the half-mile pole. Not much change at all. It's my favorite daughter. Still loose by 5. Sakura Flavor in second. And then it's another 2 lengths back. Milagro de Sol, Vincero Grande. 30 Carats. Kinjani is now getting underway. Needs to find room at this stage. Stalled about 6 lengths off the pacemaker. And another 3 to Etheric. Around the far turn, my favorite daughter leads it by 2. Sakura Flavor second. Vincero Grande in third. Followed by Milagro de Sol on the inside of 30 Carats. Kinjani is moving through along the inside, getting closer within 4 lengths of the lead with a furlong left to go. On the outside, Vincero Grande. And now here comes Kinjani. Look at this. Kinjani. Frankie Dettori just playing with this field as Kinjani exudes a lot of class here. It's going to be Kinjani. A most impressive victory. Vincero Grande was second. Then it was Sakura Flavor, followed by 30 Carats and Milagro do Sol. Kinjani, one to watch.
Last night, as you well know, we recognized the best in the industry. The Eclipse Awards were handed out in South Florida. And of course, my favorite Eclipse Award was Horse Player of the Year. That was handed out not only last night, but for about the last decade or so. And it's understandable, right? The owners put up all the money. But the economic engine behind horse racing, let's face it, are the horse players that put their hard-earned money day in and day out. And I've said this before, and I'll repeat it again. I'm always intrigued by horse players who I see on a daily basis hanging around the racetrack. They're not paid to be here. They're here trying to make some money. And there's, they can play from home. They can play through their ADWs, but yet they find an advantage coming to the racetrack. And my seminar guest today, he fits that bill to a T. Don't know if he'll win an Eclipse Award for Horse Player of the Year, but I know that he's trying. His name, George Malanche. George, welcome to the seminar. Happy Friday.
Thank you, Tom.
It's great to finally get you on the seminar. You've been a longtime friend in the paddock. You're obviously a dedicated horse player. Before we get down to the nuts and bolts of it, how did it all begin? Where did you get introduced to racing? Was it your family? Did you just stumble in this place? What happened?
Similar story maybe to most, Parents come out. We used to hang out in the
little
infield.
kid. You were a little kid,
infield. What more do you want? Green grass, play with my brothers. They actually had an arcade, I don't know if you remember, in the wine cellar.
For sure.
And so play some video games, look
Everybody
at some
was
horses,
happy.
get a pick.
Your parents were happy, you were happy.
Absolutely. And you get a winner, even better, right? We all remember our first $5, and in my time, it was a $5 minimum win bet.
Sure,
on a horse.
Did your dad teach you how to read the racing form, or did you kind of tackle that on your own?
My dad, he really didn't read the form. He was more of a visual handicapper, and not so. He loved coming out to the races, but he never got deep into it. And so that's just something I picked up, over the years.
Why did you take that next step? In other words, what was it about horse racing, besides the majesty of the mountains and everything else? What kind of drew you into the game?
I just think just the handicapping aspect of it, even till this day, I'm still learning. Like it's so deep that there's so many angles and it's just the learning, even, cause you could handicap a great card and still, you still have to apply your betting strategy to it, right? To maximize your monetary win. So it's really on both sides I get intrigued by.
Well, let's focus on that for a minute, George, because you and I spoke about that a week or two ago. Let's kind of drop the handicapping side of it and talk about the wagering side of it. Now, of course, as a handicapper, you well know, we're dealing with smallish fields on a somewhat regular basis, and you have to adapt your handicapping and your wagering strategy. And you've come up with a way that you think is best to try and attack and make the most money dealing with small field sizes.
Absolutely, and that's the first step. You analyze a card on a smallish field. Normally, if I'm going to attack, say, the pick 4 or the pick 5, whereas before we spread to get our price, it could still happen. Last week, Hopkins, I singled there. I went for the home run, played a $5 ticket, but that was the best strategy I felt for that day. For that day. On other days where I could find some value, where maybe there's middle long shots,
5, 6 to 1.
5, 6 to 1s. I like to base my play on parlays. And
create your own daily double or pick 3.
And the beauty of that is, sometimes on the 5 to 1, you could go win place. And whereas in a pick 4, pick 5, obviously there's no consolation. A parlay will sometimes save you, and you get some. If you could run second at 5 to 1, you'd be surprised when you string along 4 of those in a row. It could be a pretty decent payout.
And you've also found a way to attack the trifectas in smaller fields as well. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I mean, you isolate, you get what they give you, right? So like today, there's going to be some short prices. And the tries, since they've been raised to $1, have been paying very well.
It's changed a lot, hasn't it, in terms of payouts?
And so a lot of times I'll play a $10 straight trifecta, and I'm always surprised. There's only been once or twice where I was surprised in a negative way, but most of the time I'm pleasantly surprised at the payouts.
And they're paying $20, $30 even with the chalk running first or second.
Exactly. You just got to key in on those second and thirds, get a little bit of a price, and cash the ticket.
Let's go back to your handicapping for me. You got the racing form in front of you. How would you describe yourself as a handicapper? Like, what do you look for in the racing form when you crack it open for the very first time?
So like you said, it depends on the card, but most of the time at Santa Anita, just because I've watched lots of races here, I try and find horses. There's always horses that really like Santa Anita, and I usually try and pinpoint that, or just horse. I like consistent horses, and if there's a break in that consistency, I try to find why. Watch replays. Replays are a big angle for me. I'm doing that the night before, normally, early in the morning.
What do you look for when you're looking at replays? In other words, you're looking for subtle trouble that other people might not see?
Exactly. I think there's a horse later on in the day where I, had a trouble trip first time out and shortening to a route sprint, and I like that.
George Malanche, he's married with 2 children, but yet he finds time to come to the track. He must be married to an angel. We're going to find out who he is married to and how old his children are. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the changes on today's Friday's card here under beautiful blue skies at the Great Race Place.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the Great Race Place. The track is fast, turf firm, rail on the turf at 20 feet. Here are the early changes. In the first, scratch number 1, Love Me Like a Fool. As a result, there will be no super high 5 offered in race 1. In the second, scratch number 5, Mr. Shivas. No show wagering in race 2. The third race starts the $1 pick 6 with no program changes. Fourth begins the $3 all-turf pick 3 and the late pick 5. Scratch number 3, Ghostly Act, no super high 5. In the fifth, scratch number 8, Soul of Midnight. Race 6, scratch number 7, Do You See What I See? The 7th, scratch 1, Direct Line, no high 5 wagering. 8th, number 3, Druidic, 2 pounds over. 9, Erebus, the jockey Adrian Escobedo. Scratch number 12, Irish Heatwave. The also eligible is out. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place, where they'll be at the gate for the opener in 58 minutes at 12:30. Back we go to the studio at Quigley's Corner.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with George Malanche. He's an on-track patron almost on a daily basis, a horse player that's just like you and I. And George, before we went to break, we gave a little bit of tribute to your wife and 3 children. Let's give them a shout out because they have to deal with all your nonsense, watching replays and looking at the racing form. Don't tell me you have a stack of racing forms in the corner of your closet, do you?
Nowadays, I do it all online because, as I get older, the racing form has shrunk and my eyesight has gotten worse. And so,
I know the feeling.
And so I got to do the little scale up on my
So how'd you meet your wife? What's her name? And what are the names of your beautiful children?
We met in college. Her name's Espy. And thank you, Espy, for dealing with all my madness.
Of course.
But she knows, I'm decent. So
you bring home the bacon.
I have fun, and if you could bring home some money, that's also good.
Of course.
And I have a 21-year-old.
Wow. You don't look that old.
21-year-old in college and an 18-year-old in college.
Congratulations.
Georgie, Noelle, and I have a little Zoe, 11-year-old,
nice.
5th grader. So that keeps me young.
Have any of them caught the racing bug? Have they come out with you? And do they enjoy it?
They do come out. They do come out and enjoy it. And we bring the family out. They hang out with the cousins in the infield. We have our little picnic. And I sneak away to the paddock to do my paddock
to do the real thing.
Yeah. but
Well,
we have fun.
It's great to have you here. I know you're a busy man, so thanks so much for joining us. Let's take a look at today's 8-race card. Kicking things off in race number 1, which of course begins the popular 50-cent early pick 5. Race 1 around the turf course. The rails today are at 20 feet, 1 mile is the distance. Calbred, maiden special weight, 3-year-old fillies. As you heard track announcer Frank Miramati say, scratch the 1 leaves us with a field of 6. Welcome back Edwin Maldonado, who was sidelined for a couple of weeks after a training accident. He rides the morning line favorite and the current post-time favorite at 8-5, number 6, cleverly named Lamborghini. Also, you can take note that number 2, Lady Montclair, is taking blinkers off for training Richard Baltus. Give us your thoughts on race 1. How'd you see the race, George, and who do you like best?
Yeah, well, you hit on actually both of my angles. So I do like Lamborghini, the 6. I'm going to go with Edwin and his comeback race from that little incident he had. I think he's going to have a clear lead. You know, he's going to get a similar trip, I think, to his last race, and he's coming into this with 2 solid seconds. So I really think he's ready to fire.
She was well clear of 3rd place last time out. She led, as you indicated, George, most of the way. She's got a good improving by her speed figure pattern. One question for you. It looks like there's a lot of other early speed in the race. Lady Montclair might take off going from a sprinter out, whereas ZZ also showed speed at Los Al. Do you think Lamborghini might get a little bit more pressure than what she encountered last time?
You know what? Lady Montclair, off that, her first start, if you look back, she had a trouble break. And she rallied, she made an early move, and she kind of flattened out. I like her coming back to the sprint. And if you notice in that race, she kind of didn't settle for Rispoli. So I'm hoping blinkers off. They might just want to settle off Edwin.
Sure.
And just track him and make a run at.
Which you would love.
Yes, absolutely. So that was my angle there, is I think these blinkers off and improving buyers also.
Sure.
Similar to Lamborghini. I like that they're both improving in buyer figures.
6 and 2 in race number 1. So says our guest, George from the paddock. Race number 2, we begin the 50-cent early pick 4 sequence. We're sprinting 6.5 furlongs in the main track. This race is exclusively for 3-year-olds, in for a $25,000 claiming tag. Field of 4 after the scratch of number 5. And the favorite is down on the rail, Mr. Dreamsicle from the Steve Miotti barn. 9-5 on the morning line. Broke his maiden for 50, now in for the 25 tag. According to Michelle Yu, that's the proper classification. You agree with Michelle?
I agree, and I think this race is a little void of speed. So with that draw, I think they're gunning to the front. I think Gio's gunning.
Sure. And then you also give a little love to number 3, Mr. Suds, who's also a first-time Lasix user. The form is a little bit muddied. You can see broke his maiden on debut in a maiden special weight, and now has either been overmatched or broke slowly, had problems. What do you like about Mr. Suds in race 2?
Yeah, you know, originally I had Mr. Chivas as my long shot to complete the exacta, but with that scratch, that initial common race, their first race out, they were nose apart. And so Mr. Suds, I think has these 2 races at the stakes race in between.
Right,
but the last and the third, I think the drop is going to help. And I think he'll be in a good spot.
You mentioned both Giovanni Franco in race 1 and Edwin Maldonado Giovanni Franco in race 2 and Edwin Maldonado in race 1, George. How much attention do you pay to jockeys? How important are they to you when you decide to put your hard-earned money down on somebody to win?
I do. I mean, you got, like with anything, right? You sometimes you pay a little more attention to hot trainer or a hot jockey.
Like Mark Glad as an example.
Mark Glad's, on fire right now.
He won the nightcap rather easily on Sunday.
And how do you bet against that? Sometimes you just got to include them sometimes when they're hot like that.
Sure. I think all horse players kind of feel that way.
And with jockeys, you notice, you just make some mental notes sometimes. Like the last few weeks, I noticed I always look at what Gio's riding in the last.
I've heard a lot of people say that. If he doesn't win, he usually finishes second at a big price for whatever reason.
Absolutely.
Race number 3, we begin the $1 pick 6 sequence today. And if you looked at the pick 6 sequence, there's a chance that this is either going to carry over or pay extremely well. It sure seems to me like there's some wide open races in this pick 6 sequence. And also race 3 is a split of race number 5, exact same conditions. And those conditions are sprinting 6 furlongs in the main track, $20,000 claimers, non-winners of 3 races lifetime. lifetime. We've got a field of 8. Number 7, Ferociously from the Ed Mosier barn, is the 5-2 morning line favorite. Also, welcome to Southern California new jockey Jeremy Laprida, represented by agent Patty Sterling. Jeremy's been riding primarily back in the Mid-Atlantic circuit. We'll see how well he does out here. He certainly has some mounts over the weekend, and it's good to see him join our very deep and talented jockey colony. 8 ways you can go here, George. Which way you going and why?
You know, I'm going with the 3 Elector.
Okay.
I like the drop into the non-winners of 3.
Right from open.
I think he might be able to use his speed in this slightly easier spot. And I think, if anything, I think he keeps Ferociously honest, because if he gets a lonely lead, that's the only thing I'm a little afraid of. And third race off a long layoff.
Fair enough. Let me ask you a question, George, for Elector, because this is a struggle we all have. You mentioned earlier in the seminar that you like horses who win at San Anita, and you can see if you're looking at the past performances for Elector, out of his 9 lifetime starts, he has 2 career wins. Both of them occurred right here at San Anita, so we know he likes the main track, but his last 3 races were so bad. I believe, if I had to read between the lines of what you're saying, you believe the drop down in class is really going to wake this horse up.
That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping there.
Sure, and Ferociously ridden by Armando Ayuso for the Ed Mosier barn. Again, 1 win and 1 second from 4 career starts. Last time out, lost by a dirty head after winning a really good race. And both Elevado, who is also in the race, and Ferociously finished basically just noses apart. Race number 4 begins the 50-cent late pick 5. Also begins the the $3 all turf pick 3, comprising a $3 pick 3 on our final 3 turf races every single race day. And we kick things off here in race number 4, going 1 mile on the main track for maiden special weight Calbred. Scratch the 3, leaves us with a field of 6. Number 4, Antibes from the Carla Gaines barn, is the 5-2 morning line favorite. Ironically, 5 of these 6 runners have exited out of the same common race, which is the race on December 30th. It was the 8th race right here at San Anita. There's a lot of different trips to watch in this particular replay. The trip that I want you to watch that I find a little bit interesting is for number 3, Ghostly Act. He certainly tried hard every step of the way. He's an 0 for 11 maiden. He scratched. I'm sorry. My bad. I wanted you to watch Be Punctual. Be Punctual was coming back off a May layoff for the Ed Freeman barn. It was kind of just a run around the track, kind of loomed up and then faded deep stretch. But Be Punctual, I think, of these 6 runners that we're going to watch exit this race, certainly put in the best effort. A lot to watch in this replay, but let's listen to Frank Miramitti describe the action back on December 30th.
And they're off. Antibes is out very alertly, so is Ghostly Act in the center of the course, and they're joined by Be Punctual. So those 3 vie for command. Just in behind them, it's Dark Marcus and Get the Gold right together, followed by Topper's Wager. Maxville is down at the rail, and Bert's Prospect, the early trailer. Antibes sets the pace and leads by a length and a half. Ghostly Act is in second, followed at the rail by Get the Gold and Be Punctual, 4 off the lead. Dark Marcus taken in hand 5th with 5 to make up, 2 clear of Maxville, inside Topper's Wager, and another couple to Bert's Prospect. They swing on to the backstretch with Antibes leading narrowly, getting some mild pressure from Ghostly Act in second. Still 2.5 back to Get the Gold and Be Punctual, who are side by side past a half-mile pole. Dark Marcus is racing in 5th. 2 more lengths to Topper's Wager. Bert's Prospect now inches up outside of them, takes the 6th spot and moving up nicely. And down at the rail comes Maxville. Midway on the far turn, Antibes and Ghostly Act stride for stride. Get the Gold is racing in 3rd. They're followed by Be Punctual 4th. Bert's Prospect takes 5th on the outside of Dark Marcus. They're at the top of the stretch, and it's a wide open scramble at this stage. Antibes desperate, Ghostly Act alongside, and now moving up in between is Get the Gold. Get the Gold with a sweet trip, takes the lead with a 16th to go, and pulls away. It's Get the Gold. Get the Gold will win it easily by about 3.5, 4 lengths. Tight photograph for second. Maxville split rivals.
No one was going to beat Get the Gold that particular afternoon, George, but I'll tell you what, if you watch Be Punctual run in the Redham Silks, you can see until basically mid-stretch, he hung tough, and he's got a right to be a good horse. He's a half to both Slow Down Andy, who earned close to $1 million in his career, and Team Merchant, who earned $420,000. That was his comeback race, his first race since Memorial Day weekend. I like that effort, but Mr. Freeman and also Mr. Redham run 2 in here, including number 2, More Try. Tough race to decipher even after watching that replay. Who'd you like and why?
I agree. I think my original pick was Ghostly Act, and now with the scratch, I thought he'd run a similar race to the replay we just saw, just tracking off that.
Me too.
Now that the scratch, I'm worried Antibes might be lonely on the lead if the two more try doesn't gun from the inside. That's my only worry, is I feel like he might just have a lonely lead.
And we saw in the replay we just watched Maxville rally late to get second at big odds of 46-1. We see on the graphic screen that you like Maxville to finish second or at least be very competitive. Why do you think he's going to run another big race?
And that's the reason I just said. So Antibes and I think more try have a possibility to hook up. And, you know, he's going to be flying late.
Yes, he is. So 4 and 5 in race number 4 for George. Question for you, George, and we're going to see this throughout today's card, so I know you had to wrestle with it. A lot of Golden Gate shippers on today's card. How do you kind of, just generally speaking, analyze those horses? Do you go back, watch the replay? Do you try and think, okay, maybe if they like synthetic, they like turf? Like, how do you kind of fight your way through the weeds?
I do that, and I also try and find some common horses somewhere in the lines.
Sure. To
kind of get a little bit of a comparison, because I watch Golden Gate a bit, you know, but it's not my best track to handicap.
Right.
I've been killed on those legs of the Golden Hour many a times.
I know the feeling, that's for sure. Race number 5 begins the 50-cent late pick 4, and as mentioned previously, this is a split of race number 3. We're going 6 furlongs in the main track for $20,000 claimers, non-winners of 3 races lifetime. Scratch the 8, leaves us with a field of 7. Number 2, Principe is the 8-5 morning line favorite. Here's that guy Mark Lett again. Juan Hernandez in the saddle. When they team up, they only win at a 26% win clip. Who do you like in race 5, George?
And that for me, it's Principe, number 2. And on top of those numbers, I have 50% on favorites, which that's surprising to me.
Sure.
That's surprisingly high. This one should get a nice pace to close into, I think. And so he cleared the non-winners at 2 for 40 as a short price favorite. So I think he's just in a really good spot.
Couple of questions for you. Let me first ask you about your second choice, number 4, Duty First. Big effort at Los Alamitos last time out, but his 2 career wins have both occurred over at Los Alamitos. Do you think he might be a Los Alamitos specialist, or do you think he can translate that form to Santa Anita?
He might. That's what I'm hoping. I just really banking off that last race, kind of reignite the light bulb on him and just transfer his form to Santa Anita.
And going back to your top selection, number 2, Principe, I find it very curious that Mark Lett decides to drop him in for 20. You mentioned that he won the 40 non-winners at 2 lifetime. He's a lightly raced 5-year-old with only 9 career starts. From a management standpoint, from a horse management standpoint, does that quote unquote drop in class concern you?
Not when you're Mark Lett, because you know you're keeping up that percentage. I don't think. You just put them where you have the best shot of winning.
You just ride the wave.
You just ride the wave.
Race number 6, we're spreading 6 furlongs on the main track. It's an allowance optional claiming type, not allowance optional claiming type race. Non-winners of 1 other than. Scratch the 7 leaves us with a field of 9. Number 3, Dr. Soulfire is a first-time gelding. Number 2, Donsick from the Vladimir Serin barn is the lukewarm 4-1 morning line favorite, indicating, at least according to John White, that this is a very wide open race. Give us your thoughts on race 6, George.
Well, this is my favorite race. I think I spent the most time, and I'm not sure I got very far on it, to be honest, because the only horse I kind of had doubts about got scratched just because it was a Century Downs horse and I wasn't really familiar.
Do you see what I see declared out of the race? But you do give some love to the old hard-knocking class horse number 1, Gregorian Chant, who drew the rail. Tell us why.
There's just so much speed in this race, and I feel like breaking from the rail, I think JJ is just going to have a perfect trip. I'm hoping just saving the ground, hopefully just kicking through in the stretch.
And you also get a little love to the outside horse, number 10, Jetivator. I have a feeling for the similar reason that perhaps he'll be able to pick them up off the pace.
I think same thing. The post doesn't trouble me because I think, you know, Tiago could just tuck in, right? Follow the speed, get a nice. This horse always rallies wide too. So I think that's not going to be a problem. I'm expecting him to just be rolling late. And
a little bit of a shout out to jockey Tiago Pereira, who you mentioned. He's done extremely well with limited opportunities. 35 mounts at the meet, 7 wins, 4 seconds, and 1/3. Very deep and talented jockey colony, as I mentioned earlier. For Tiago to have those numbers this early in the meet certainly bodes well. Question for you, George, since we're on race 6. How are you going to attack the multi-race wagers today? In other words, will you get involved in the all-turf pick 3 as one example? Is that a wager that you've been playing lately?
I do occasionally, but because, you know, It is a $3 wager. I have to really key in.
That's the whole idea of it.
Yeah, I really have to key in on a single because it gets expensive really quickly.
Yes.
And there's times where, you know, to your point, you have to pick your handicapping, right? Because you could spend, I've seen people spend a good amount of money and basically just get a rebate even after you hit it.
Right, exactly. They're spread so deep, even when they win, they barely win. Sure.
Correct.
Now, what about the $1 golden hour pick four? You mentioned that earlier, that you kind of struggle with the Golden Gate races. Is that a wager you play on a daily basis?
I do. If I like this, when I have a strong feeling about the Santa Anita races, then that allows me to, you know, spread a little more on the Golden Gate races, because sometimes I just can't figure that track out.
It always pays well, though, right? I mean, the higher minimum and the lower takeout, it pays. Even when the favorites win, which is not my cup of tea, it pays well. But you get a few, you know, crazy horses in there and it explodes.
That's one of those bets where, like, I'm always surprised at the payout.
Right.
And I'm like, especially when I miss, you know, the last leg at Golden Gate, it really leaves me scratching my head.
Pleasantly surprised. Race number 7 begins the aforementioned $1 golden hour pick four, linking our last 2 races here with the last 2 races at Golden Gate. And we kick things off going 1 mile on the main track. It's a starter optional claiming race. Scratch the 1 leaves us with a field of 6. Morning line favorite is number 4, Ghost of Midnight. Ghost of Midnight is an interesting horse. You can see if you have the past performances in front of you. He broke his maiden as a 4-year-old in a maiden $20,000 claiming event. That's the race that makes him eligible for this starter optional claiming race. And boy, from the Mark Lap barn, it sure looks like he lays over this field. You can see he's got a good improving Beyer speed figure pattern race after race. Last time out, maybe one small concern is that he didn't change leads, but as I indicated, he certainly lays over this field. And ironically, he has won work since that race on December 31st. It was on January 14th. And courtesy of our friends at xbtv.com, let's watch that team drill. Ghost of Midnight is on the outside. Ball Don't Lie is down inside. There'll be another worker that will pick up these 2 other runners on the outside, but Ghost of Midnight is in the blue blinkers trailing right now as we watch this workout. But the reason why I wanted to show this workout, George, and I know you watch a lot of workouts as well, is just look at the ease in which the exercise rider is guiding this horse around. And the time is legit, 101 flat. They might have even gone faster than that, according to some private clockers. But he's just cruising along, and I love seeing this type of maintenance drill off that good improving Beyer speed figure pattern that I mentioned. That race was just 26 days ago. Now he's got this maintenance drill since then. To me, he looks like the most logical single in the pick 6 sequence. Of course, he's the favorite at 7-5, but I think all systems go for Ghost of Midnight. Do you agree or disagree with me?
I completely agree. And these are the kind of horses, Tom, where you mentioned the golden hour. This will be a key for me.
Sure.
It becomes
Go ahead.
It becomes a pick 3 for me.
You're willing to take the short price because you'll believe there'll be other prices in the other 3 legs.
Correct.
You'd love to get a price.
Absolutely.
But at some point, if you can narrow it down, particularly in this race, it gives you a lot of flexibility. You think Ghost of Midnight is probably going to be a single, but if there was maybe an upsetter, you like the runner on the bottom, number 7, Zimba Warrior, who was reclaimed by Bob Hess. What is it about Zimba Warrior like, George?
You know, you mentioned that. I love the reclaim by Hess. He's a hard-knocking 7-year-old, man. He always shows up. Last win at Santa Anita was at this distance with Cannaboard. Yeah, so I'm giving him a shot to complete the exacta.
A lot of weight on number 4, Ghost of Midnight, in race number 7. Both our seminar guest, George, and myself think he's a likely single on many tickets, including ours. Race number 8 closes out the day with $5 golden hour daily double wagering. Similar concept. Last race here with the last race at Golden Gate. And race 8 is going a mile on the turf course for Calbred, allowance optional claiming types. Non-winners of 1 other than. Scratch the 12 leaves us with the original field of 11. And number 11, Moogie Sun from the Ed Mosier barn, is the 5-2 favorite. Also make Adrian Escobita the jockey on number 9, Erebus. Really different, a lot of different ways we can go here, George. But before we get your thoughts, one more replay to watch. It was the very first race at Santa Anita for the winter meet back on December 26th. 3 of these runners exit the race. Number 7, Bravestone. Number 8, Barely Functional. And the morning line favorite, number 11, Moogie Sun. The one I want you to pay attention to is number 8, Barely Functional. Again, from the Redham Racing stable. This horse last time out basically wasn't asked at any point, even coming down the lane. You'll see Mario Gutierrez, the jockey, basically didn't ask the horse for any speed and still closed really willingly with a good late kick. I think today might be the money run, 5-1 on the morning line. Let's watch the replay. Barely Functional, ironically, also breaks from post 8 in this replay, wearing the Redham Racing colors. Let's listen to Frank Miramati describe the action.
They're in the gate, and they're off in the Santa Anita Park opener. And Big O from Fresno is very quick. So is Billy's Bet. Those two dispute the early lead, with Tom and Jazzy making it 3 right across the course. Bravestone tucks in just behind them, 4th. And then it's 4 Flag, followed by Mugi Sun, who's only about 3 lengths off the lead. Luca Grazzi has made it over to the rail. He's racing on the inside of No Longer a Hobby. And at the back of the field, Barely Functional now trails. Around the clubhouse turn, and it's Big O from Fresno and Umberto Rispoli leading the way, 3/4 of a length to Tom and Jazzy in second. Another 2 back to Billy's Bet, a tracking 3rd. Then 4 Flag 4th and 3 lengths off the leaders. Followed at the rail by Mugi Sun, about 5 lengths off the pace. Bravestone is just outside of him. Another length back comes No Longer a Hobby, followed by Luca Grazzi, and another 4 back to Barely Functional. Into the forward turn, Big O from Fresno, the controlling speed, with Tom and Jazzy now moving in just a head away second. Those two on even terms. A 3-wide bid from Bravestone outside of Billy's Bet. Between those two, 4 Flag has asked for a bit more. Mugi Sun is looking for racing room, trying to find it. One from the inside with those yellow blinkers, swinging to the outside for the drive. They're in the final furlong. Big O from Fresno, 3-length lead, shrugging off Tom and Jazzy as Mugi Sun starts to take up the chase clearly into second. Big O from Fresno, Mugi Sun, Big O from Fresno, all the way.
George, we'll watch the replay here. Big O from Fresno, as we just saw, took them wire to wire, and certainly it was going to be tough to catch him when he ran in 134 and change. But take a look at number 11, Mugi Sun, number 2 here that we're watching on the replay. Certainly full of run. Today's distance is the exact same mile distance. And the horse that I mentioned, Barely Functional, that was his first time going 2 turns. And I have a feeling the Connections wanted to see if he could handle it. And in my opinion, he handled it with flying colors, which is why I think he's going to improve even more today. Mario got to be able to see if he could get the 2 turns. And again, I think he did extremely well, finishing 3rd in that replay we just watched. I spent a lot of time focused on that replay. Having said all that, you're going in a completely different direction, which is what makes our game so great.
I did.
Tell us who you like and why, George.
I did. I like number 1 on the whim with Tiago on the rail. I like the maiden breaking score on the grass.
Yeah, sprinting on the grass.
Yeah, back in October. I just threw out that last sprint race at Los Al. And then, so I'm going to go with this, the fresher of the faces here.
Fair enough. And you also like number 4, the other Ed Mosier horse, Why Run 2 When One Will Do. That's number 4, Mongolian Rim. Actually broke this condition at Golden Gate on the synthetic surface. Now is able to try the same condition on the turf. What is it about this particular runner you like?
And the race I focused on was a common race with Mugi Sun, actually.
Which race was that? Oh, I see it. There were 2 back, December 3rd and November 17th.
If you watch the replay, they both made their late runs. What I did like is Mugi Sun, they started their runs at the same time. And Magion Rim made his move inside of that horse. And he outfinished under the wire. So I like to see that. I like to see them show grit on the inside of a horse.
3-1 over 6-1 to wrap it up for our seminar guest today, George Malanche. Keep in mind, tomorrow we have racing from our sister track. It's Pegasus World Cup Day at Gulfstream Park. First post on their 13-race card is 8 a.m. Pacific time, so make sure you buckle up and take a look at that card. 7 stakes races on their, 13-race card. And, of course, here at San Ita, we've got 9 races beginning at the traditional 12:30 p.m. post time. George, want to thank you so much for your time and insight today. Always a pleasure shooting the breeze, talking horses with you. You've got not only success here at the races, but also for you professionally, and much love and success to your family as well.
Great. Thank you, Tom. It's been fun.
Yeah, sure has. Thanks to all of you for watching as well. Hope you enjoyed it. Next voice you hear will be track announcer Frank Miramati updating us with any late changes. Have fun, everybody, and good luck.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon and welcome to Santa Anita Park. The track is fast, the turf is firm, the rail on the turf at 20 feet. Here are the changes. The first, scratch number 1, Love Me Like a Fool, no super high five. Race 2, no show wagering, scratch 5, Mr. Chevis. Third begins the pick 6. No changes.